Thanks for tuning in to Season 2 of the Hollow Points Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And what do we do, Coach?
We accept the challenge of providing dangerous, thought-provoking, and sometimes controversial insights into life's most common topics.
Get your mind right, yeah. Get your mind right.
All of this confusion could be removed. You wouldn't have to worry about gay marriage or any kind of marriage if it was just a situation where legally I could write out that you good after I'm gone. Legally, I could write out that you on my insurance. Legally, I could write out, I can do all this stuff without the ceremony because you know, like I know, everybody wants the ceremony without the matrimony. And the simple fact is, even Jesus himself said there is no marriage in heaven. You give all that up. That's why I say till death do you part. Ain't no marriage. So why I'm not even preparing myself for the kingdom with this marriage.
So what the communication is big, and I think we all said that. We need to discuss the percentages, and it adjusts through time, and we need to discuss the type of love we want. If you want the person to be all of those things, those are unrealistic expectations. She could be good at counseling, then she could be the counselor, and you save money on that. But the husband can't be the mechanic, the plumber, the all of that stuff. That's the communication. If you expect that stuff, it's probably going to fail.
But a lot of divorce that is initiated, and most divorces is initiated by the woman. The woman is empowered nowadays to say she don't have to put up with less than she feels like she deserves. So if he's not fixing up around the house, or if he's not making the kind of money, she's always being drawn to better. She's always being drawn to, I think I can do better than this cat, and therefore I'm gonna leave him and test my chances in the free agent market. Women are less committed to these marriages than men are based on the paperwork. Tell me where I'm wrong.
I think you're wrong because you don't just because I filed for divorce.
Mhm.
I think in some situations, depending on what's going on, um, you may be forced to. If he is a habitual cheater,
Tomcat.
We talking physical?
habitual, what?
We talking physical cheating or what?
Yeah, that's what we're
Okay.
talking.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, but he ain't gonna be the one to get divorced. He don't want you because clearly he can't want you if he has two and three and 10 other women
He don't want that
doing his
about
own
you.
thing. He's married, living single, but he doesn't want to be the bad guy in um somebody it what some people the traditional marriage. He doesn't want to be looked down upon for filing for divorce. So he forced her to, but it's all because of his actions. And I think that's a lot of the situation with maybe it could be the women filing for divorce. Um, Depends on why. Why?
I
You have
disagree
to
What
know
with that.
else?
why.
Yeah. So
Let
what
me say
else
this.
can a person do if you're
Yeah,
trying to force them to accept less than what they deserve? They have to file, right?
Yeah, that's just leaving.
But
So
that's
you got five.
the problem with this is
exactly.
you're painting a picture of a man that's actively being the bad guy, but saying he doesn't want to be seen as the bad guy on paperwork. That's not a real dude. A dude is not saying I'm gonna be out in the street and they gonna see me with my side hoe and they gonna know that I got kids across town and they gonna this and that. But I'll be damned if I write it down on paperwork and file to leave her. That's not how dudes really think.
It's not
Oh
very. It's
yeah, I
yeah,
know
yeah.
one.
It's not
Yeah,
very
y'all.
I
many
know
real dudes
one.
out there.
I
It's
know
only
one.
about 20% of real dudes out there. I
Okay.
don't know what
Yeah.
world are you living in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was finna
They
say
don't
I
stand
I
don't
on your
know.
boys. Shit.
I'm on
I stand. I don't stand
it.
off it. When I do, I stand
My
correct.
bad.
I
Yeah,
stand
I have to
corrected.
stand with the women on this one. It's a rare breed of real dudes out there.
Y'all niggas is trash.
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna let the dudes that's doing that. That's trash because you picking you already poisoned and now you acting like you died from something else. Just keep it real.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, if they would have kept it real, they would have got married in the first place.
No, I think you got to try it at least once.
It's not like chitlins. You don't have to. No,
Well,
you
you
I
don't.
know,
I won't even try that once.
Exactly.
and
And if you're not ready for marriage, don't try it just to be like, been there, done that. Yeah, no, you don't have to. If it don't look pork belly, you ain't gotta try that. I know that don't look good.
I think a lot of times with marriages, though, especially young marriage, this is why I believe you shouldn't be legally allowed to get married until you're 30 or over, because a lot of times people grow and mature and evolve at different rates. And it takes a tough, strong, God fearing, knee bending person to hold off for that phase in which that person is growing. Anybody that's married knows it was a time or two where I didn't think this was going to work. It was a moment or two where I wasn't sure if we was really anointed by God to be in this union and leaving and cleaving. But you fought through it, you stayed committed to the commitment, and then it came back around to where okay, we let it happen. I think that those type of situations are easier to get out of because it's cheap to get a marriage, it's quick, and everybody is fucking divorced. So it's not like a stigma. There used to be a stigma on divorce. There used to be a
Mm-hmm.
stigma on having a kid and not being married. Now don't nobody care if
Mm-hmm.
y'all when I was a kid and I didn't have the last name of my mama, that was a big deal to me. Now you
Mm-hmm.
don't even, and people used to come and call my mom my last name and she never corrected them. Now you don't even guess that the kids got the same last name as the parent. You're like, oh, you are.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep, you're
some of
right.
that is just that's just the nature of where we are in society. And as we continue to devolve or evolve as a society, all I'm saying is why keep going through these ceremonies, spending all this money and going through all of this if 59% of the time, based on the math, it's not gonna work anyway.
It's a lot to that question. So
Okay.
first of all, women act shocked when I tell them the minute that I know we're not going to get married, the relationship is over. Like,
Damn.
oh, no one
Damn.
had ever told me that before. And then
Explain that.
Yes, please.
if you're in a relationship with somebody, you're learning each other and you're growing together, and they have potential at that point. First of all, if they don't have potential to be your wife, you shouldn't even get in a relationship with them. But after you learn so much that you know, oh, I would never marry this person. I know he said that sometimes the doubt comes in, not the doubt, it's the for sure, like I would never marry this person. Then the relationship is over. Like, why waste their time?
Why do you feel like you need to be married? What is your fascination with marriage? I just told you marriage is not what it used to be. It was cool. Marriage is
To
jean jackets, my nigga. Like marriage, it used to be
marriage
cool.
is,
Okay, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, marriage is something different to everybody. If
That's
in to you it's a piece of paper and land, to me if it's a commitment between myself, the person, and God, and then it's different. I really don't care about the paper, but a lot of people do.
right.
Sometimes you gotta compromise,
Okay.
and even if I don't want to leave you my assets, that's part of it.
Right.
But it's different to everybody.
And so
And the minute
y'all ladies would support him wanting to be married, even though he's been able to have a successful life unmarried thus far.
Yeah, yeah, if that's what he wants, why not support somebody in what they want to do?
You can't support somebody in the wrong now. Stop acting crazy.
If he wants to be married and that's what he's looking, that's his end goal, then he should keep working towards it.
Mm. And what say you?
Yes, but I have a question because he said in the relation you get into a relationship, you are dating, trying to figure out who this person, and then you said how once you realize she's not somebody you would marry, you immediately stop dealing with them, or do you continue to deal with them, see if it's some things you can adjust, you can tweak. Maybe she is marriage potential. And then how long does that take? Is that like after 8 weeks, 4 months, a year? How does this equation work for you?
I mean, it could be at any time, but um, yeah, I give an opportunity to say, hey, I wouldn't marry someone who wants these things in their future, who wants these things in their present, or it could be like between the two. So if you try to say that you really don't want those things, that's something that has to be evaluated because you know you gotta look at actions and goals. But if we're both being real with ourselves and you do want those things and you know I don't want them, it's not going to work. So it could be at any time, but the conversation and communication has to be continuous. And if I don't want somebody who vapes, then and you are in love with vaping, then it's not going to work.
So let me ask this, just to the panel. Let me say this: if there was a qualification that you would tell your child to look for in a future spouse, what would that qualification be for your child versus what was that qualification for you? And I'll go first, just so y'all understand what I'm saying. I knew that the qualification I needed in a wife was one of two things: somebody that already acted old, or somebody that I could see was on a path of maturity. Meaning she wasn't trying to still wear booty shorts and be all in the club and do all this other stuff, trying to do stuff that's TikTokable. She wasn't on that. So I need to either see that already in her or see that she was willing to absorb that. And so I just married an old lady. Um, but for my child, I would want for them to be able to look at now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. The one thing I always say is if you have something about that person, kind of similar to what you were saying, bro. If it's something about that person and you say, that ain't that big a deal now, but 5 years from now, if that don't change, it's gonna get on my fucking nerves. 10 years from now, I'm gonna be ready to choke this motherfucker in their sleep. Then you need to really consider whether this is what you want to do, regardless of what that is, whether that's gambling, whether that's smoking, drinking, and chilling, whether that's not getting out and wanting to do nothing. Because some women get mad because a dude don't want to be a homebody. Some women get mad at the man cave. Some of that, or want to be around his boys all the time, or ride motorcycles. It's always something that you have that evaluation of. How long can I put up with this before I know me enough to know this will drive me crazy, and it's only going to make it worse if I done took his good years, her good years, and then I'm telling them something that I could have told them 10 years before. So, Sean, I'm gonna let you go first. What did you need in a mate, in a husband, and what would you tell your girls that they should be looking for? And if it's the same thing, shame on you because times have changed.
Well, it's gonna be the same thing.
I
So,
know, I know.
right, one was family being a priority,
Mhm,
and that was for me. That was important for me because I had already had kids
mhm,
before I met my husband, and then the other one was to love me for me. And I tell them that now you gotta like somebody to like you for who you are. And I feel like I know that he loves me for me because I've changed so much. And no matter how I look or the way that I act or my moods or whatever I'm going through, because I'm going through some stuff. With, and the older I get, I'm changing. Things are changing. He still loves me for me, who I am, deep down, who I am, no matter what the outside looks like. So that's what I would always tell them.
He loves you in your twerkless life.
He loved all of it.
I think I just need to get him drinking a little bit. He'll tell us, man. It's probably 90% now. It was 100 when she was twerking. But go ahead, bro. What are you looking for in a future wife? And then how would that be different than you telling your boys, if anything?
Man, I'm probably gonna have to agree. Like it's not gonna be that much different. You want to look for a person who's willing to grow,
Mhm,
who's willing to communicate, and willing to grow with you. I'm not looking for somebody who's looking at me like their retirement plan,
mhm,
and I pull all of the weight. We have to be continuously communicating, growing, learning from each other, and learning about each other, and showing each other interest. It has to be effort on both ends, and that's what I think they should be looking at, and that's what I tell them to look at. As long as they're showing interest and effort, and not looking at you as the father or retirement plan, then that's probably somebody you can continuously grow with and deal with. I'm sorry, times have changed, but the qualifications really haven't.
Mhm.
Okay. And go ahead and bring down that anchor leg.
You talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I would tell my daughter to look for someone who's going to be honest with you. Honesty is a big thing for me. Um, and you also you can be when you first get into a marriage, it's usually you're just so in love and everything is great and that's going to run its course and then things are going to start changing because you're growing your lives together. Sometimes your interests change and you're not kind of on the same page like you initially were. But the biggest thing for me is someone who likes you because it's easy to love someone. You love people that you don't deal with. It's the difference between love and being in love. And one things that I always say, is I ask my husband at times, do you still like me? Because if he doesn't like me as a person, this is not working and it's never going to work. Because again, like I said, you can love someone, not be in love with them. But if you don't like that person, if you looking at them at night when they sleep, like I can't stand this hoe. Um, or I wish she would just leave or any of that. So being with someone that likes you is a big deal to me.
That's sad yet true. Okay.
The issue with that though is people go through stages, and women more than men, in my experience, go through stages where they doubt and don't like themselves. And it's hard to give something you can't pour something from an empty spirit. And so if you not vibing with yourself, or if you going through tough times yourself, you can't give off that energy of please like me while I hate me. You know what I'm saying? And that's where love kicks in, because love is the gap, there between the like and the, it's just like family. People say,
So
you can't choose family. Sometimes you got to just ride out until they weather that storm and find themselves again.
so basically what you're saying is uh you shouldn't be looking for love or be looking for marriage until you know how to love yourself first.
Absolutely. I'm big on not fucking with nobody in transition. And there's going to be times where you're in a purposeful transition, and there's going to be times where life thrusts transition upon you, where you between jobs. And I'm not starting a relationship with a chick that's between jobs and they just got out of something. I wouldn't talk to a chick that had a kid under 3. That just doesn't make sense. You still transitioning from what you thought that was going to end up being, or you made a mistake 3 years and 9 months ago that you still trying to figure out, why did I do this? Because this kid needs me a lot, and that kind of stuff. You got to let people settle into who they are a little bit so you can see what they're going to be like. Like I said, I was smart enough to get somebody that was already old acting, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. And then when she caught up to the age in which she was acting 20 years ago, it was very appropriate. Like, oh, you was always like this. You always got up real early, went to bed real early, like, baked and sold and whatnot. Like, that was good for me because I knew what I was getting into. The problem relationships are the ones where you get with her, y'all smoking, drinking, and chilling, and then
Mhm.
you find the Lord, and he ain't ready to give it up yet. And now he mad at you because you mad because he got guns and weed in the house. And all of a sudden, you've matured into who you always thought your grandma was and who she would want you to be when she passed on. And he's still back to how y'all was when y'all first fell in love. And y'all not in love, but y'all ain't the same people no more. That's a tough situation.
Why are you calling acting appropriately acting old?
Because when you old, it's appropriate. Yeah.
It's appropriate when you young. That's still appropriate.
No, I hate a young old. I hate it, man. And I know kids like this, and Letty, you know this too. When a kid is complaining, when you got like a 6-year-old, like, ooh, it's hot out here. Ooh, my feet hurt. That is horrible. And we
That's
know some of them. We know
but
some of
that's
these
not what they
young
doing.
old niggas.
They,
What is they
what they're
doing?
doing is going to bed on time, not being out in them streets all night. That's appropriate, not old.
But
That's acting like a wife. We talked about that. Finding a wife, finding a good thing. If you
right,
find it a wife at 4 a.m. at the Waffle House, you probably have mistaken.
right. She is masquerading as a good thing, as a bad thing.
Yeah, you know where she done been. Yeah. At 4 o'clock in the
Right.
Waffle House. There's only two places that she just done left. the club or some man's bed.
Oh
Yeah,
damn!
or washing up, right?
There you go.
And he let her leave hungry.
Oh, he don't care how she leaves
How long did
because
she leave? Huh?
If he
there
don't
you
have no
go.
eggs, he don't have no eggs, right?
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as we bring this to a close, I want to go around and give any words of wisdom that you've ever received that help you make decisions in looking for a wife or looking for a good person that will be capable of being a spouse. Either way. And I'll start with this, and it's from somebody who's not married, who's never been married, and who I never see getting married, and that is my brother-in-law. And he told me a long time ago, I will never buy a purse for a woman that she wouldn't buy for herself. Now, he said it that simply, but what he meant is so many women get into relationships and want a dude to provide and do for her things that she's not equipped herself educationally, financially, or emotionally to buy and do and be for her damn self. And then get mad when he shut it off or can't do it and say he's not a real man and he's not this and that. So that small statement of I won't buy a purse for a woman that she wouldn't buy for herself made me realize that if you with someone, don't do things for them that they couldn't do for themselves or won't do for themselves because that's the clear sign of them using you or letting you augment what they didn't do with their life or couldn't become in their eyes. Does that make sense to the ladies?
Yep.
Okay,
It does.
okay.
Yes. Yes.
Who wanna go next?
I'll go. This is funny. We went on a girls trip one time, and I had an older lady. She wasn't in her 70s yet, but I think she like 70 something now. And we were all sitting around talking, and she said, I can't even remember how we got on that conversation, but she said that her husband was the right kind of ugly for her. So, we're young. I'm like young, young. And, I think I was probably only married for like 5 years at the time. And I said, huh? And basically she said, well, she know that he ain't handsome, but he waits on her hand and foot. She said she don't have to worry. He loves her to death, like literally. She couldn't wait to get back home to him, which was like bothersome for me because I knew she was an older woman. Like, oh my God, don't say too much, because I was young. It's like, ugh, I don't want to hear that. But she was like, I miss him so much, and she just knew he wasn't handsome, but she was basically saying, I don't care what nobody else see or what they think. He the right kind of ugly for me. So you can think he ugly, but it's the right kind of ugly for me. And I love him. So I thought about it and I said, well, I think a lot of people tend to look at what's on the outside. But if that person makes you happy, you don't care what nobody else think or what they see. It's what your eyes see. And when you look at them, if you don't see that ugly, or if it's ugly, but it looks good to you, it's the right kind of ugly for you to look at and roll over at night and kiss them and wake up in the morning and still look at their face. Then do it. Be happy. Just be happy.
So yeah, I can go next. So I think the communication is underrated. So honestly communicating and discussing the type of love that'll work for you. It was an episode of Martin where they was in counseling and they was like they got kicked out, I think, and he was like, that couple's gonna make it. That couple also sounds a lot like Chris and Atlanta. So when y'all beefing and but y'all still actively communicating what type of love is going to work for you and is not going to work for you, that's the type of relationship I think you should be focused on. Somebody willing to communicate and not fake and be honest and stand on their principles and let you know what will work for them. And in the end, if that person really cares about you, they'll bend a little bit, but in the end, the type of love you'll know the type of love that will work. And those preconceived conditions, that's gonna hurt you every time. You don't try to have a person in your mind that you want and tell a person, and then if they care about you, then they'll be that person, that's going to fail every time. So stay away from that would be my advice.
Mine would be find someone who promotes your peace, your well-being, and your mental health, because those are things that we all deserve. We should give and we should want to receive peace, well-being, and mental health being promoted by the person you plan to spend the rest of your life with if you're in a marriage.
Mhm.
You got these labels, boy. You big on these labels. So
What labels?
as far as you keep saying, that's not a relationship. That's a
It's not.
entanglement. That's a marriage.
Right. I
That's
didn't say an
like
entanglement. I said an
okay,
arrangement.
okay, arrangement. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Look at what
We're
Jada
not
did.
gonna get on. We ain't gonna get on Jada in August. I
So,
said it an arrangement. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is an
Tupac.
arrangement.
Tupac
so,
might have been an
Exactly.
entanglement. Yeah.
so what
No.
I'm saying, because P Diddy likes to party. So
He likes the party part. You got to put P on it.
right. So what we I think have come to terms with, and I think I feel better about it now, is we talked about 90%, 10% provision as it relates to financial and 50-50 provision as it relates to financial. But regardless of what that makeup is financially or providing to that person, the one thing that we I think agreed upon, men and women on this call, was that there's gonna have to be a close to a 50-50 provision of effort. Sometimes I'm gonna make more than her, and sometimes I'm gonna get sick and she gonna make more than me, and sometimes it's gonna be, I'm cooking some nights and she cooking, but it's gotta be where I feel like I'm not outdoing you by 90-10 in the effort thing. So if I'm saying I'm gonna take care of everything, you can be a stay at home, you going to the gym, you going to the pediatrician with the kids, you letting me know what's going on with the PTA, you holding it down, so to speak, because I am handling this portion of it. But in reality, the 50-50 is not just the dollar sign at Bank of America, it's the way that we feel about giving to each other holistically. So we're creating a whole marriage or a whole relationship because 50% of the things and stuff is being taken care of over here by me, and 50% of the things and stuff is being taken care of. And we don't care how other people see the math. We know that it's good enough for us because life happens, things happen. Like she said, I done got old and my mood done changed and this and that, but he know he getting 50% of your effort. Even if you you downtrodden and got the gout, he know that you gonna roll over and kiss him and let me just rub your shoulder because my hand is still good. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, I think that if you look at long term, it's the communication, it's the understanding, it's the mental health, but it's the effort that's going to outlive everything else. Because if you really trying for me, I have a lot more runway to love you and like you because I see that you're willing to give that amount of effort or share that amount of effort or compete with me from outdo me in an effort perspective. But the reality of it is, most of the time when things don't work, is because somebody is cheating from an effort perspective. Somebody is shutting down, somebody is giving up on trying to continue to give to this thing because they don't believe in it anymore. And maybe that's the reason why I say that marriage might be antiquated. But I guess if you want it, you got to go get it because you got to be happy for you as you define it. So that makes the most sense. What say y'all?
Ooh, you saying love is not selfless at that point?
Indeed. It's hard. It's hard. It ain't easy. Like me and Shadow was talking about this the other day. It's not for the faint of heart. This marriage thing is not for the faint of heart. And they make it easy for you not to be married nowadays. Easy. It's so easy. There's so many people unmarried. It's so a married couple has a hard time finding other happily married couples to even hang out with and talk to.
That's
And
true.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's because it's a lot of married couples out here that's not happy.
Right. And you can smell it on them. You can see it. And you don't want to infect yours with that. So you stay away from them couples because you don't even
Yep.
want that in your atmosphere. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
cool. Well, as we come to a close on this, I hope that that shares some light on it. I know that some of it was generational. I think that the ladies tried to make it seem more nowadays. Back in my day, all of that kind of stuff. But I think that it's always been like this, and there might be some discussion that still needs to be had on the history of inner workings between men and women in marriage and whose responsibility is it to do what. But I do believe that we can't conveniently pull up traditional when we feel like it, and then pull up all the single ladies when we feel like it. And you know what I'm saying? It can't be I'm a boss chick and I'm a CEO, but he opens my door and puts jackets on puddles. Like those aren't the same women. So you gotta pick your lane and be that chick and be proud of
They
being that chick.
shouldn't be.
But
Yeah.
that kind of schizophrenia causes a lot of confusion to the brothers out here. And I'm speaking on behalf of the ladies. I'm telling y'all, pick a lane and let him know who you are and how you are, and then you'll know if you got one that could accept that as you are currently constructed. What advice would y'all give,
I
on
was
the other
just
end to
gonna
the
say,
men?
and let me say, when she picks that lane, then the brothers need to accept her for what she is, even if she wants to only do 10%. Whatever she put in front of you, accept that for what it is. Don't try to change it, and if you don't like it, move on.
Well, a wise woman was said on a podcast in the first season, I can forgive you. That don't mean I got to fool with you.
Right.
Right.
So,
I agree
So
with
true.
that. My cousin had a woman who he said that she told him she wanted to be a housewife in the beginning, and he tried to change that. It wouldn't change.
yeah,
That's what she wanted to
she
be.
was dedicated.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
to this day, that's what she wants to be.
all good points.
Hmm.
This concludes another episode of the Hollow Points Podcast, where we act as your therapeutic outlet on topics many think about but are afraid to speak on.
I get your mind right. Yeah. I get your mind right. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.